sweating to death yet?
Super good. Nice to meet you. I don't trust anybody. So this is a good option. I know it's not optimal, but this is you not going to jail, Gabby.
I think I can't get one in a place I don't know where I am. Well, I know I'm in Utah.
I know.
But
But I mean, you could get a hotel, you could get another campground. But you guys gonna stay in the campground tonight?
So let's talk about what happened to transform Gabby Petito from this weeping woman on Thursday, August 12th, 2021, afraid to even drive her own van, caught in this rare body cam video footage from the body-worn camera of Ranger Melissa Holes at the Arches National Park.
Okay, so was it the same campsite you stayed in last night?
no, I asked the ranger if we were allowed to park in a parking lot and like stay at the arch at night, and that was okay. I was gonna go get a time lapse.
As long as you're not sleeping in the car, so you do need another place to go after the time lapse.
You know, it takes like 4 hours to go, so I was gonna do it like all night and then get back in the car and see sunlight camp.
Okay.
There. But
because I know you wouldn't be right next to him, but it's that or you go to jail and then you're alone without him that way. And it's for tonight. It's to satisfy the courts to basically say that we've eliminated at least the aggression for now. We've given you guys some space and time to calm down.
I just don't want to be separated at all. It was just a silly argument. I was just going to get walked.
A silly argument where it came to putting hands on each other and he's got marks. Silly arguments shouldn't involve hurting each other. I know you didn't, that wasn't the intention, but silly arguments shouldn't go that far. Thank you.
I'll trust you. Don't open it.
I'll get the triggerman. Thank you.
Good. Okay.
Oh, got it. Go for it.
I've been doing step by step with everybody
Yeah,
else.
no, that's fine.
Don't worry, I'm not diving for anything. Okay. No, it's okay. Thank you.
You sure? Okay. It's not as cold, but it's good. And did I hear correctly, he's your boyfriend?
Fiance.
Okay. How you doing? It's okay if you're not okay. I just want to make sure. What was that?
So I distracted him while we were driving, and hit the curb a little bit.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what the scratches on her face are from. I hit him just like, I can't even hit him that hard. Like, he's really a lot stronger than me. I don't know. It's not like I could even hurt him, but
Yeah.
I just hit him like slightly, like I guess in the chest, and I slapped him across the face, but like open, like almost that.
Okay. Did he strike you at any time? Did you ever get physical, or do you think it was all on yourself?
No, he did a little bit, just to get back. It's not to hurt me though, it's to stop me. I'm not gonna lie, I can't do it. It makes me feel really bad saying it, but I know I am.
Well, it's some self-reflection.
Yeah.
It's some thinking about our actions going on. That's okay. We can always be better, right? We can always think about why we're doing what we're doing. Not many people get that opportunity to just pick up and go.
Yeah, it's trying really hard to start like a travel vlog.
Take a deep breath. Yeah. I know. You can still do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, I sat for quite a few hours, something 5 hours, at the coffee shop down there.
Yeah.
Working really hard, and everything, she just like sarcastic comments, like, oh, it took you 5 hours, right? I wrote like 5 paragraphs. It's a lot. He has no idea. He's confused. So he doesn't even know what I'm doing.
What happened to transform Gabby on that day, a weeping girl, into a confident young woman who texted her mother only 15 days later on Friday, August 27th, 2021, letting her mother know she had a plan. She could make it on her own as a solo van life traveler, female. Now, according to Gabby's mother, in the new docuseries I've been deeply diving into this week, it's titled American Murder, Gabby Petito on Netflix. clicks, it was indeed Gabby, not Brian Laundrie, her mother believes, who texted her on August 27th, 2021, writing, quote, "I could make more money as a solo female van lifer." A solo female van lifer. So since these text messages took place after the last known video footage of Gabby and Brian leaving Whole Foods that day, that fateful Friday, some viewers are believing Gabby was already gone, and Brian was pretending to be her at that point. However, I want to deep dive into this body cam video, this rare body cam video, number 3, I'm calling it. I want to examine why I believe this body cam footage gives us clues to let us know that it really was Gabby texting her mother that Friday, and how those text messages that Gabby wrote, they do indeed line up with what Gabby told Ranger Melissa Hulls. So if we deep dive into these insights Gabby provided to Melissa, which is much more insight that Gabby gave Melissa compared to those male Moab, Utah Police Department officers that day. So this is the body cam footage I finally obtained about a year ago, March 26, 2024, after nearly 3 years worth of fighting for it. It took me forever. I had attempted to obtain this never before seen body cam footage of Gabby speaking with Melissa because I noticed when they released the 2 male officers' body cam videos to us, I was like, wait a minute, Gabby is speaking with that woman, whoever she is, a lot more. I figured out, okay, it's a National Park Service Ranger. Melissa Hull went through all this stuff, tracking down the right department, finally finding the right department. They still didn't give me all of it. I think they gave me 3 videos. I must have put them into one. I can't find the original yet. But this is what I put up on my Patreon last year and a few snippets on YouTube. But now I'm diving deeper into it. I've actually worked on it some more. I've tried to improve the audio. I added subtitles because it tells us a lot. There was a lot of misunderstandings, rejections, and everything. Thank God they finally released this video to me. And I think a lot more people need to dive into body cam number 3.
You good? I'm going to talk to you real quick, but I've been talking so much, I got to get some water. I'll be right back.
You good? Alright. Be right back with you.
So this is the water.
We've heard what the other male officers have told Gabby, how they tried to interpret the law. But I love the motherly type of warmth that Melissa gave Gabby. So much so that Gabby even told Melissa she had a very calming voice. After Officer Pratt had left, Melissa said to Officer Pratt, the guy with the beard, the one who's so controversial, the one who allegedly has his own domestic issues, it's a lot going on with him. Melissa told Officer Pratt, I'm going to try and calm her down a little bit, because Officer Pratt had upset Gabby when he let her know, look, you might go to jail tonight, you guys need to separate.
That's what we give visitors.
Oh, yeah? Yeah, you guys, when you grow up, you're a full-grown man, this is what you'll drink from. Plus it's ice cold, so I'm going to drink from it. Sorry. You'll probably never be a full-grown man.
And then you do curls with it.
Then you can do your curls. So, look, I'm going to speak to you. And I'm looking at you not so much like a suspect, but also kind of a victim, in the sense that you're dealing with some struggles emotionally and mentally at your age. Probably they'll work themselves out as you get older. There's a lot of angst at your age, and I remember being your age too. And hopefully it works itself out. But the stuff you did today that contributed to this, that you both contributed to this, is as a result of your inability to cope with the anxiety and stress. So in a way, you're kind of a victim of this. I think you would have done better if you had the skills to do better. You don't learn skills until you learn skills. You don't have enough life experience yet to know how to navigate everything. And, I don't either, but I can navigate what's happening. If I was in your shoes, I can handle it. But I've got a lot of life lessons to learn still, because my dad and my grandpa, they don't survive on that, right? They can survive on that. So in a way, I'm just letting you know that we sympathize with you. But, based on what you said, and based on what our witnesses said, based on what your fiance has mentioned, trying very hard to not have you in any trouble, he the witnesses say was false, like slapping him. And that even you say you slapped him and were addressing him first. And I don't have anyone saying he actually punched you aggressively. It sounds like it was shoving in a manner that was probably more consistent with trying to prevent you from entering the van or to get space from you, not to assail you, if that makes sense. So, if the tables were turned and he was beating on you and you were shoving him, of course we're going to look at it like, oh, of course, he's defending himself to get away from this guy. Well, we're kind of looking at the same way with him. So we have to treat both fair, even if he's a bigger male and you're a smaller female. The law doesn't say, hey, you can treat people different based on gender on just things we can. Even if it makes no sense, that you probably could not physically destroy this man the way that he could have attacked you. We can't treat the difference, okay? So all that long-windedness I'm giving you right now is leading up to the fact that if I put someone on proceeding, I have the right to give them a warning. I have something called officer discretion. But in the legislature in Utah, they have made a law that if we have a domestic assault, they don't trust the police to make good decisions. Because we may possibly bad decisions. So they are going to give you the choice. We're going to write a law that says if you have a domestic assault, whether it's male on female or female on male, whoever the primary aggressor is has to be charged. No choice. You don't get to give them a warning. It doesn't even matter if he's barely hurt at all and the guy doesn't want to press charges. Or the girl doesn't want to press charges. We don't have a choice. We literally have no choice. He does not want to press charges. He says you guys are a team, he says you're a fiance, he says he loves you, he doesn't want anything to happen. But we're saying then you don't have any choice. So we're going to have, we're trying to get local victims advocacy group called Cave to get him a hotel so that you can have fans. They won't give you the hotel because you're the one who's the primary aggressor. They're going to consider him the victim. They're going to get him a hotel. He wants you so you don't have to go to jail. So the only thing we can do is take you to jail. Because suppose she doesn't have to go to jail, then I will accept to take David's house and they'll give me a hotel and she can have a van and she doesn't have to go to jail. She can have a ticket. When you get the ticket, it's going to give you a phone number to call, and they're going to give you a court date, and that court date will probably be online. So it'll be online. You have a smartphone? So I just want your face. Yeah. When COVID happened, they switched all the courts from in person to online. So when I go to court now, I understand, but we don't have any, like, listen, if I had any discretion in this, I would separate you guys today and give you warnings to stop taking stuff. But I lawfully don't have discretion. I don't have any. There's two witnesses. And that's what you said, and guess what, it all matches nicely that you were the primary aggressor, and that the increase you had was caused by your aggression. She doesn't feel hurt, she can still up and charges, nothing is possible about it. Written into the law. Normally we take people to jail, but he's trying to work with you, have a man, tomorrow, have anxiety. There's not, what is it? The very best thing I can do is call my supervisor and see if I'm missing something here. Okay, Gabby, try to calm down and I'm going to go call a supervisor, but I don't think there's much I can do, but let me see if the supervisor can tell me something like this to make it happen. Hey, give me a minute, okay? You don't have to sit out in the hot sun unless you want.
No, that's fine. Calm her down a little bit.
Okay.
So this is a good option. I know it's not optimal, but this is you not going to jail, Gabby.
I can't get one in a place I don't know where I am. Well, I know I'm in Utah.
I know. But I mean, you could get a hotel. You could get another campground. Are you guys going to stay in the campground tonight? Okay. So was it the same campsite you stayed in last night?
No, I asked the ranger if we were allowed to park in a parking lot and like stay at the arch at night, and that was okay. Like I was gonna go get a time run.
As long as you're not sleeping in the car, so you do need another place to go after the time lapse.
You know, it takes like 4 hours. So I was gonna do it like all night and then get back in the car and do some like camping there. But
because I know you wouldn't be right next to him, but it's that or you go to jail and then you're alone without him that way. And it's for tonight. It's to satisfy the courts to basically say that we've eliminated at least the aggression for now. We've given you guys some space and time to calm down.
I just don't want to be separated at all. It was just a silly argument. I was just going to get walked.
A silly argument where it came to putting hands on each other and he's got marks. Silly arguments shouldn't involve hurting each other. I know you didn't, that wasn't the intention, but silly arguments shouldn't go that far.
And is there any way to get my phone so I can call my mom?
I can find out. Give me just a minute. I'm going to close this. Take a deep breath, okay? Be right back. She is. She likes her phone. Do you happen to know where it is? Without going for it, where is it? Yeah, go ahead and tell me if you don't mind me grabbing it.
I can grab it because it's in a spot.
Why don't I go with you? Where are we going in the car?
The front.
What sounds like you said it was in something. Is it in a bag or?
It's right there. It is. Okay.
Oh, got it. Go for it.
I've been doing it step by step with everybody else.
No, that's fine.
Don't worry, I'm not diving for anything.
Okay. Is that your phone?
That's it.
Okay. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, and it looks like your dad's phone right now?
So this full video is already, I worked on it this week. I put it up on my Plunder bodycam videos channel. Of course, it's always on Patreon if you don't want to deal with YouTube ads and all that stuff. They usually get stuff first. If you want to watch it straight without my commentary with the subtitles, it's over there on Plunder bodycam videos. But my question is, what happened in those pivotal 15 days to where Gabby felt confident enough to text her mom these exact texts saying, quote, "I'm fine. I convinced Brian to go camp out in the woods so I can have the van to myself. It's what he wants to do anyway. I don't care. He said I could have the van if I paid him." So naturally her mother asked, "Are you guys breaking up?" Gabby replied, "No, I just said I could make more money as a solo female van lifer," cry laughing emoji. She was trying to add some humor there. I think to just kind of calm her mother down, and you know how we do sometimes so parents won't worry about us. Quote, "I'm driving to a campsite now." Now, if it was Brian who was pretending to be Gabby at this point, when her mom said, "Are you guys breaking up?" and if he knew Gabby already gone at his hands, naturally Brian would have continued the ruse. He would have said something like, "Yes, Mom, we've broken up. I'm going to take this van. I'm just going to drive wherever. I might be off the grid for a few months. Don't worry about me," or whatever. You know, he would have continued the ruse. So I really do think this was Gabby saying she could make more money as a solo female van lifer, cry laughing emoji. Investigators think this was the same night that Gabby lost her life at the hands of Brian on August 27th, right after they noticed there's no more movements on Gabby's devices, no more moving of video files, which was her normal habit. So let's dive deep into body cam number 3 and discuss how Gabby had found a way out. Gabby was almost free of Brian, and she probably felt like she was walking on broken glass as her artwork had reflected. She was walking over broken glass at this point to get to her freedom. But first, again, a quick timeline. I love timelines. It was August 12th. Gabby and Brian were stopped in Moab. They had their argument. They were arguing basically because Gabby was up there working her butt off, trying to create these videos, trying to be a van lifer. So on August 12th, Gabby told Melissa she had been on the road with Brian all the way from New York for 5 months.
And you started traveling in New York?
Yeah, all my family's in New York. everything. Florida.
Oh, okay. Where'd you guys meet?
New York. We went to the same school. Well,
Okay.
his family and everything. But they just moved down south.
Is this usually how the arguments go? I mean, has this happened before?
Not really.
Not really?
No.
Okay.
Not like, not crazy like this.
Okay. So this is abnormal. This doesn't happen a lot.
This is that.
Okay.
I think it's just you're really dehydrated. You haven't drank water all day.
Yeah, you gotta drink that water. Yeah, we're just trying to paint a picture to get all the pieces together to make sure you're good.
Yeah.
To make sure you're both good. Yeah.
Usually everything's okay. I think it's just dehydration and frustration.
Yeah. And so you said that you guys were, it got heated, he locked you out of the car, but then you got back in the car, and then...
Yeah, the car just, like, he went for a walk, too, and was like...
Okay, so you were both out of the car.
Yeah, he's like, just take a breather outside, I'm gonna walk over here. And I was like, no, please let me in.
Okay. And how did you distract him while you were driving? You said that he kind of swerved and hit the curb. You said that you were distracting him.
Oh, yeah, I touched his shoulder a little bit, like, just, like, lightly, kind of, like, very, like, forget,
Okay.
we're good, kind of go get water.
Do you think it's safe to hit somebody while they're driving?
No, I wasn't trying to do it hard, but but then he looked at me, so.
Okay, that's when he. Okay.
Like turned his whole body, you know, an accident.
Okay. He's got some other scratches, looks like on his face. Did you hit him on the arm? Did you hit him on the side of his head?
I don't know what the scratches on her face are from. I hit him just like. I can't even hit him that hard. Like, he's really a lot stronger than me. I don't know. It's not like I could even hurt him, but I just hit him like slightly, like I guess in the chest, and I slapped him across the face, but like open, like almost that.
Okay.
So I don't know if maybe my rings hurt him, but
okay.
He was looking at me from the other side.
Was in his right side if he was driving? Or did he look at you and then...
No, he was looking at me, so it would have been your left, his left. I don't know which side. But I don't know. He's always taking, he's very advocating, so kind of cheap, he's always kind of...
Yeah, okay. I'm just making sure. Did he strike you at any time? Did you ever get physical, or do you think it was all on your side?
No, he did a little bit, just to get back. Not to hurt you, though, to stop you. I'm not gonna lie, I can't do it. It made me feel really bad saying it, but I know I am.
Well, it's some self-reflection.
Yeah.
There's some thinking about our actions going on. That's okay. We can always be better, right? We can always think about why we're doing what we're doing. Okay. And so you said you haven't had a lot of water to drink today? That can affect everything.
Yeah. And then I'm like staring into a computer screen, not thinking anybody.
Yeah, that's a lot. You are just a fancy house plant.
Yeah.
With emotions, you need to make sure you're drinking. Yeah. Okay. Have you guys been camping in the transit van too?
It's been great. We've been staying on a lot of the Bureau linen management.
Yeah, there's a lot.
I have like the dirt on my phone, so it tells you on the way you can like park overnight. Nice. And so we've been following that and preserving a bunch of campgrounds that hang around in the national park.
And how much longer is the trip? When were you headed back?
Actually, I didn't have a plan at all. Our plan was that we're gonna go to Yellowstone and Glacier and make our way to Washington. And then we were gonna go to Portland, and that's where I kind of ended our plan. We were gonna. You've ever heard of wolfing?
Of what?
Wolfing. It's worldwide opportunities on organic farms.
Oh, there.
So it's like it's
Can I come too? That sounds amazing.
It is really cool. Some of them are like in beautiful farms, like out in California, and you get to, pick like their vegetables and stuff that they sell in all the organic markets around their town. So it's really interesting to see how that works. I want to get into that.
So you used to live in New York. Your license is out of Florida, but you're moving to Portland. Like you were going to end this trip and then live there. You weren't going back to New York.
Not to live there. Not like to change my license there. Not to have any permanent address.
Okay, just to try it out for a little bit.
Yeah. Just to chat.
Not many people get that opportunity to just pick up and go.
Yeah, it's trying really hard to start like a travel blog.
Take a deep breath. Yeah. I know. You can still do that. Yeah.
You can drive?
Yeah. Yeah, have some more water. It's good for you. What's making you emotional right now? What are you thinking about?
I've just been working so hard for like the past probably months building it, and I don't know. I only have I gave myself 3 more days, and I say I can launch it publicly.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I sat for quite a few hours, probably 5 hours at the coffee shop down there.
Yeah.
Working really hard, and everything she said, sarcastic comments, oh, it took you 5 hours to write. I wrote 5 paragraphs. She has no idea how to use the computer. So he doesn't even know what I'm doing.
It sounds like you guys might just need to work on your communication.
Yeah.
Have you told him how you feel? Have you told him how it affects you when he makes these sarcastic comments?
Yeah, and he's well, it took that long to do it. I'm sorry, I don't think it's funny.
Yeah.
I'm well, it's okay that we can take 5 hours for a hike, but we can't take 5 hours to write about it.
And if it's important to you, yeah.
I've just been trying to get him more involved in, I don't want to say the world, because the internet is the world.
So but that's a doorway into it. That's the way a lot of people use it.
He's an amazing artist, and I am in control of Instagram. I pretend to be him on Instagram. He's supposed to put on, the world needs to see this, right? You do amazing stuff. And so I always encourage him, and he's I just want to not have phones and be in the market. I'm that's great. That's a great lifestyle to live. You got to tell people that you want to live that way. It's hard because I'm the opposite. Yeah. On the computer, you
want to post about it. You want to, like you said, you want to write about it. Yeah.
Not for anything, but just to, I don't know, as a way of work. I want to have a travel blog. I have so many people who are traveling or want to travel, or so many people are stuck home and they read these blogs because they can't get out. So I think it's really important to share. And,
it sounds like you guys just need to talk about it, because it's causing stress that you're kind of butting heads on it. He doesn't think it's worthwhile. You think it really is. And it's okay to have differing opinions, but when it comes to blows, when it comes to even just playful, even just, I didn't mean to hurt him, like you were saying, it's got to be better than this, It's got to be better than this. Where were you guys going to head to after this?
I was going to try to get a time lapse at the arch tonight of her, actually. So we were going to fill our water and
You got some time before it goes down. You're not. I wouldn't be worried about that right now.
That was my only plan for the day. Otherwise, I was just working on my computer literally all day. That was my plan. Just we needed a water break.
Have you guys been up to Delicate before?
I know, never.
Okay.
Yesterday was our first time.
Yeah, we like to call it the license plate arch, because it's what you find on a lot of the Utah license plates. And we find that when a lot of people come to visit, when they say, "Where's the arch?" That's the arch they're talking about. Yeah. We have over 2,000 of them, but that is the one that everyone comes to see. Do you have footwear that's not flip-flops? Like maybe better arch support, or because you're going, it's a trail that you're hiking straight up the Slick Rock. Those are gonna not go too well for you.
Oh no, yeah, I have a hiking story. I wore up there, and he actually was barefoot. He's a barefoot.
Oh, nice. I did not do that. No, thank you. Especially with how hot the rock is. I wouldn't even want to try it.
I don't know if you know what the Appalachian Trail is.
I do, yeah. I haven't been on it, but I do.
He hikes the whole thing. But usually, I don't
you get a picture for that? I mean, that's awesome.
I know, I should like send them a...
Yeah, put your name on a plaque or something, because so very few people have done that.
Maybe not the entire stretch, but like at least 95% of it is done barefoot. And I did it in my
That's pretty cool.
It was really, really nice when we went up to the arch. We went at like probably like 7 a.m. So, and it was Monday.
Okay. I was gonna say, you said you'd never been there.
Yeah, the day. Yeah, it was. I don't know what day it is today. I've lost track of time. We were camping in the park, so we went Monday morning at like 7 a.m. to see the arch, and there wasn't a lot of people up there. I was really surprised. There was a short line to like wait and take your picture.
It's nice when people are actually waiting in line.
Yeah. I thought that. I was like, wow, that was really respectful of everyone getting their photo.
Yeah.
And so someone had really kindly took our photo, and then we went. I don't know, like you know how like that back of the arch, it like slopes down.
Yeah.
You can't really get on that side. There was like some sort of such like avid hikers. And I thought it was safe to go because it was still a bare rock, and I thought like you're still able to go there. And I found this little like really narrow path that I like shimmy myself along, and there's a big flat rock like directly like where the arch is. And then the big flat rock is like sticking out of. I call it a cliff because it was like so steep down the side.
Probably say that. Yeah.
But it was like such a nice flat, like deep spot to sit on, and it was like perfect, like in the center of the arch, like just looking up. And it was like at the right angle, so you could only sometimes see people's hands sticking up when they were taking their photo. And that was really nice. We got there for a few hours. People were like, "How did you get over there?" Like, "Can I come?" And the guy tried to come our way.
There's some treacherous terrain out there. There is.
We got stuck. We had to climb like Spider-Man up the rock and help him back out to his wife, and she was laughing hysterical, giving us a big thumbs up.
Yeah, no, thank you.
But yeah, it was really funny that people were shouting. I was like, "How did you do that?" It was so nice.
Everyone's got to get that picture, right?
Yeah.
They want to be able to recreate it. But yeah, definitely drink your water, especially on that hike. That's gonna drain you real quick.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And then it's not an enjoyable hike for anybody. Yeah. Don't do it. Don't do it that way. He said he doesn't like to post things, but you're the one that's posting for him.
Yeah. I think that's just him out. He was because like he feels like I don't know how to explain it. Like I'm working on so much, like and that like he feels bad that I'm working on so much, so that just him out because he feels like I think it's just him out that he feels like I'm not enjoying it.
Oh, gotcha. And you enjoy it different ways.
Yeah. I'm enjoying it my way, but I always say I'm happy here. That's what I always tell him. I'm happy here. Leave me. Whatever you want to do. That's usually how he goes for lots more hikes than I do because I like to sit back and.
Oh, okay. You want to enjoy it right there. He wants to keep on exploring.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes, depending on where we are.
How you feeling?
Like,
You have nothing to say anymore.
But it was June 2021, however, when they had left New York, and Gabby had cried as she gave her mom the biggest hug ever. So I don't know how long they drove, potentially, I guess, from Florida up to New York, and then from New York all the way out west. Now, per Brian's lawyer, Brian flew home on August 17th. He gave Gabby basically 7 perfect days, almost, of bliss away from him. Brian rejoined Gabby on August 23rd. Now, Stephen Bertolino, the lawyer, he claimed Brian, quote, flew home to obtain some items and empty and close the storage unit to save money as they contemplated extending the road trip. Indeed, Gabby did talk to Melissa about potentially going on to Portland, doing this organic farms wolfing thing. It sounded interesting.
She seems like a really sweet girl, 22 or something, has a lot of anxiety, and from what she's claiming, she's the full-on aggressor here.
However, the time away must have really given Gabby time for her escape plan, because before Brian came back in town, the day before Brian came back in town, Gabby sent a text message to her ex-boyfriend, a guy named Jackson, on August 22nd. Now, originally, back in the day when Gabby and Jackson were together, Gabby talked about doing this cross-country van life trip with Jackson when they were together, but the day before Brian comes back, on August 22nd, Gabby wrote to Jackson, "Hi, I'm sure I'm the last person on the planet you want to hear from." In the documentary, Jackson said she and Brian had gotten into an argument. "I feel like the phone call was a cry for help." So he explained that Gabby wanted to leave Brian, quote, but just didn't know how to do it. Quote, "I think she wasn't sure of what he would do." Jackson said she was like, "I have a plan. I think I want to leave him. I'm going to do it. I have to figure out when to do it." So she definitely had a plan. She was getting her ducks in a row, and it's sad. The fatal mistake is Gabby thinking Brian would be a human being about letting her go, thinking he would let her go. It's sad. Those 2 weeks after Moab, Gabby had indeed definitely made a shift in her thinking. It was the final 2 weeks of her life, unfortunately. On August 12th, Gabby did tell Melissa about her plans with Brian to extend their trip to Portland, and she still called Brian her fiancé, not just a boyfriend like Melissa had initially called him. Now, Gabby talked to her about wolfing, this worldwide opportunities on organic farms, and the chance to stay at really nice farms like in California, get veggies, sell them at farmers markets or something. However, life on the road with Brian and his barefoot hiking, his rude, sarcastic comments, and his dirty feet was obviously getting old. Now, during her nearly 7 blessed days without Brian, from Tuesday, August 17th, until Monday, August 23rd, Gabby got the chance to luxuriate, basically sleep in a hotel. She had all the time she wanted to work on her website and vlog without him bothering her. Like Beyonce says, "Stop interrupting my grinding," you know? Melissa gave Gabby the idea of getting her own hotel on August 12th, 2021. If you listen to that portion, and I'll probably stick snippets throughout here, Melissa was like, "What about you get a hotel room?" Or the cops eventually gave Brian the hotel room that night, as we know.
So she's got her cell phone. She's calling her parents just to feel better. She doesn't want to not be with him tonight. That's what we said. Yeah. So that's nothing is calling supervisor.
Sorry, I wasn't sure if you could see me.
No, that's okay.
Is it possible that maybe if anyone has service, I just lost service?
We're probably not going to have any better service. Welcome to the park, yeah.
Okay. It's weird, it just answered. It's 911 bar. Every time I answer the call, it's...
You might be able to get out texting.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. But just to reiterate, Gabby, these might be your only 2 options. Either you go to jail, or we separate you for tonight, and you're in a much better place tomorrow to figure it out together. I'll give you some time.
She said that she was striking him in the arm. He said she was, and that's what caused him to hit her. She said that she grabbed her. I might have to speak to her. comment.
No, she said that too, that she started distracting him by hitting him, and that he probably looked at her, and that's why the mark is on the window side. And she said it was her fault that he swerved because she was distracting him by hitting him. And she said she didn't try to hurt him, it wasn't malicious, she thought that he wasn't listening to her.
So assault is an attempt with unlawful force or violence to bodily injury to another. Code for bodily injury, the definition says bodily injury is infliction of pain or physical impairment or injury. So you can go just now. I'm recording and I am jumping he doesn't want to do it. She's not a threat to him, more than slight abrasions on her fingernails. I don't care if we use the actual letter of the law to not charge, but I also don't care because it literally does possibly make perfect sense to go full on domestic assault and do the whole thing. This is your opportunity to make a decision. I will.
How you doing? Okay. You get a hold of your dad?
Yeah, for a few minutes.
For a few minutes, okay. And I'll tell you what the plan is. But whatever happens from here on out, learn from this. Do better than what happened today, okay? For both of you.
Very calming voice. Sorry about that.
I appreciate that. Thank you. That was my hope that I would help a little bit. Yeah. And we've got more water, so you don't have to guzzle it. So you don't have to nurse it either. We can get you some more.
And Gabby and Brian, we learned from the Netflix documentary, they ended up sneaking and getting together that night anyway, August 12th, even though they were supposed to stay apart. The cops told them to separate. But did the idea of getting a hotel room stick with Gabby somehow after that day? Melissa gave her great advice, like, you guys need to communicate better. You have different, paths of thinking that we'll get into. Now, Gabby was under stress. I love it. She was giving herself a deadline. So on August 12th, she told Melissa she gave herself 3 more days to launch her website publicly. Without Brian, she eventually accomplished her goals. And it wasn't until he left that she could get her goals finished. She couldn't get the website launched, I guess, or definitely the YouTube first video. She couldn't get it launched by August 15th. Without Brian, she eventually published this video titled Van Life, Beginning Our Van Life Journey, the first video on that Nomadic Static YouTube channel. It was during the week when he was gone, August 19th, 2021. So we don't know if it was Jackson's idea or Gabby's idea to start this van life journey, but I always wonder if Gabby was trying to follow in the footsteps of Janelle Eliana, that super popular YouTube van life girl with the snake, the white snake named Alfredo. He's so cute. She launched her channel living and traveling in a 1995 GMC Vendura Explorer with her little pet snake by herself. Now, Janelle was then 20 years old when her first YouTube video was published. It was published on June 26, 2019, and it quickly went viral. It gained millions of views. She got millions of subs right away. Now, right now, her video is sitting around 12 million views. Now, Janelle's story is really rare. Some people even think Janelle was a YouTube plant. They always think that of people who go oddly viral. Like her first video just went through the roof. But she's great at editing. She's great at living in her van, being interesting, like Gabby. Janelle would quickly have gained back then the 1,000 subscribers she needed, the 4,000 watch hours she needed to get monetized potentially on YouTube. And I do remember when Janelle got monetized and everything, and I wonder if Gabby watched that, if Gabby was inspired by that. But Gabby didn't experience the same success. Even though Gabby's first video on YouTube, it was lovely. It had only had 500 views initially, not the 8.5 million views it enjoys now, but Gabby probably still felt a mix of emotions. Just getting that video published was an accomplishment. It probably felt like a bit of vindication, along with perhaps disappointment with the low views. Maybe she knew, I'm just starting out, I gotta get this thing going. I mean, even 500 views for a first video is amazing. So after all, we knew Gabby had already opened up to Melissa about all the hard work she put into her travel vlog, her website, and how Brian had made fun of her that day for only writing 5 paragraphs in 5 hours. So that's when Gabby broke down. You could tell it was close to her heart. She told Melissa, I've been trying really hard to start a travel vlog, and that's when she started, getting verklempt again, really emotional. Melissa had told her, take a deep breath, and she said it in a motherly way. She said, I know. And she said, you can still do that. So Melissa seemed more encouraging to Gabby in 1 hour of just knowing her than Brian had been for months. Now, Gabby explained it was her happy place to work on a computer. Hey, I'm with you. It's, her happy place to just chill, and Brian could do his hikes. And she had asked him, like that day or whenever they were arguing, like basically, why is it okay to go for a hike for 5 hours, but it's not okay for her to write about it for 5 hours? Brian just needed to know the world didn't revolve around him, and he wasn't helping Gabby calm down in any way by locking her out of her van. Like, this can be stressful indeed, and Gabby's going to explain, like, yeah, it's stressful, but just let me work. Sometimes you get on a grind and you get in a mode, and they call it, what do they call it? When you're doing your deep work, and you're there for hours, and maybe you are stressed and hungry, but you just want to get that thing done. I can really relate to the things Gabby was telling the officer. So it probably felt like heaven for Gabby to take all the time she wanted to just film and edit without Brian nagging her or putting her down. I think the 7 days almost without him brought an epiphany, and it solidified her decision to move on without him. I don't blame her. Brian obviously didn't understand Gabby's desire to create a travel vlog and make a living at it. I mean, it's a wonderful way to make a living for someone who loves filming, photography, drones, has a great artistic eye. I mean, Brian had an artistic eye too, but Gabby's going to explain he barely knew how to use a computer. He wasn't helping her. He could have helped her on iMovie. That was just the best clapback. He didn't look like he was putting up the drone. It looks like she was. He knows how to post a picture, she said, on Instagram or whatever, but she pretended to be him on Instagram. Obviously, Gabby had more techie skills along with her artistic eye. And she's saying, look, just because it's difficult and it's stressed her out, it didn't mean she wanted to stop doing it. So I love that quip when she was like, somewhere in the documentary, and if you want to go watch, I sat in my SUV and I filmed 2 deep dive videos watching the Netflix reaction. I reacted to all 3 episodes. I'll link to those 2 videos below too. And I had to, unfortunately, put my MacBook far away so it wouldn't be a visual match, and I could transform it and make it fair use. And I had to add a lot of commentary and music and all this stuff. But I love it. Towards the end or somewhere in there, Gabby quipped to Brian, well, it'd be helpful if you knew how to edit using iMovie. And I don't blame her, because it's one thing if your partner just lets you, go with the flow. You like video editing. You like filming. Okay, go take 12 hours or how much ever time you need to go do that. It's quite another if they're sitting up there bothering you, like, oh, just stop doing that, or, like if they're downplaying your gift. And that's what he was doing. While Gabby told Melissa that Brian barely knew how to use a computer and he only knew how to post a photo, and Gabby ran his Instagram account and tried to encourage him as an artist, he basically downplayed her skills. Now, there's nothing wrong with not knowing how to use a computer. I'm not saying that's a problem, but what is a problem is that Gabby was being encouraging of Brian. She's like, he's an amazing artist. The world needs to see this, or the world needs to know your philosophy. If you want just your phone thrown in the ocean and you don't want to live this life and you want to live off the grid, express that to the world. Gabby had even bragged to Melissa about Brian hiking nearly the whole Appalachian Trail barefoot. So while she's telling Melissa he's creative, he's artistic, he hiked that whole trail almost barefoot and all this stuff, she's big upping him, bragging on him. He's over there yucking it up with the male cops talking about, she's crazy, ha ha ha. And Brian even tries to schmooze Melissa. Ugh. Anyway, Gabby obviously enjoyed all that week she spent without Brian because she reached out for help from Jackson the day before Brian returned. So something obviously really shifted in Gabby's psyche. So while we saw a lot of trauma bonding or whatever it was August 12th and anxiety, and Gabby didn't want to be away from Brian that night. They still hooked up somehow that night. She didn't want to drive her van alone. She just didn't want to be without him even for a night. Well, look how much it changed when Brian was gone. So obviously, instead of pining away for Brian and focusing on like missing him, she was devising a plan right before he returned. She was obviously more fearful of his return than excited about his return. Maybe Gabby could see a path for herself, like, okay, I don't want to camp out as much. Maybe I'll be a solo van lifer, but I will get hotel rooms more often. Or maybe she had come to some kind of plan in her mind how she could do this a little bit more the way she wanted to do it. And also I was thinking maybe it was a ploy to convince Brian to fly home and save money by closing out whatever storage unit he was closing out. And he stayed gone for so long because I guess he had to fly over there. It says Brian flew home to Tampa from Salt Lake City. So that's what the lawyer says. So Gabby was in Salt Lake City, and I think she was just enjoying herself. It was probably so healing in those salt flats, and it's so beautiful out there. And maybe she devised a plan like, I can get this YouTube up and running. I can make enough money to, camp on my own, maybe not hike as much, really grind away at this travel vlog, make money that way, get hotel rooms sometime, or maybe try the organic farm thing without Brian, whatever. Maybe it was a ploy to get Brian away for a while. Closing out the storage, yes, saving money. I mean, obviously they needed money. Gabby probably used that to just get some space from him, and those 7 days felt like heaven. Believe you me, I understand when you have to kind of tell a person certain things to just get them away from you. Now, Gabby told Melissa, he goes for lots more hikes than I do. Gabby liked to send Brian off to do whatever he wants to do, while Gabby likes to sit back a little bit more in her happy place behind a computer. I don't blame her. I mean, a 5-hour hike is pretty treacherous. And Brian didn't want to drink out of plastic bottles. I love this water, Saratoga. He was just this big environmentalist to the point where it's like, don't drink out of plastic bottles, drink out of cantaloupe shells, whole of a cantaloupe. I mean, just kind of extreme with it, in my opinion, to the point where that's why he rejected Melissa when she tried to give him water. He's all like, no, thank you. And they were already thirsty. They hadn't had any water that day on the 12th. So I can understand all that hard hiking. Yeah, that might have been Brian's thing. Maybe Gabby was the type who's like, I'll hike for you for a while, but then I want to come decompress by editing. And I don't know, how else were they going to make money? Since Brian was so down on Gabby, wanting a career as a travel vlogger, how was he planning to make money? Now, I remember reading in the documents after this whole thing shook down, he had $20,000 somewhere in some account, but he ended up stealing her money after murdering her. But Gabby probably thought she could reason with Brian and just continue her van life trip as a solo female van lifer, likely hoping Brian would just, get back, go fly back to Florida without her, perhaps leave the van with her. She could travel by herself, do whatever. Jackson said on August 27th, a few days after our phone call, Gabby had Snapchatted me. So he also said he got a phone call from Gabby at 1:45 p.m. that day, but he was at work or something and he missed it. So she had reached out to him only hours before her untimely death. I wonder what she would have said. It's a call that he regrets missing. Jackson said, I think back on the fact that maybe if I did answer that phone call, I could have helped. Or there could have been a different outcome. And that's hard. That's too much to put on himself, that pressure, that guilt. But people do wonder, did Brian find those messages, between Gabby and Jackson, or learn her plans in a different way? Maybe not. Maybe Gabby was just open and honest with Brian, just about wanting to go her separate ways away from him. And Brian didn't like it one bit. She probably just felt so good. There's something about when someone's like nagging at you and downing you, it's like, just like chipping away at your soul. And when you get away from that and you can kind of hear the voice of truth telling you, look, you're lovely, you're talented, you don't need him, that's not love, it kind of builds you up. And so you get the strength to tell that person the truth and hope they can understand. So Brian obviously didn't understand. Like Jackson, whatever breakup they went through, Gabby and Jackson, he understood. He didn't hurt her. So instead of taking that cross-country road trip with Jackson, he's a guy who calls Gabby his first love. Gabby would ultimately take this fatal road trip with Brian, a sinister man who obviously wouldn't let her go. Gabby probably thought, okay, breaking up with Brian, it could be similar to breaking up with Jackson, perhaps a bit more drama and danger, but not death. You know, I don't think she was ever engaged to Jackson, but she was engaged to Brian. She's seen, I'm sure, his evil side. There was that photo in her phone. I don't even know what day it was dated. If it happened August 12th, it's not clear. But it looks like she had blood on her face. So chances are Gabby might have been a little reticent, but maybe she tried to pose it to Brian in a good way about them going their separate ways. Chances are, whatever happened, Gabby didn't realize her path to freedom from Brian would be blocked by him, a man who obviously used some kind of blunt force trauma and strangulation to end Gabby's life, which is, you know, not far away from, when he grabbed her face and everything. The neck isn't far away. Then Brian posed Gabby's body on her left side with no boots on and her hoodie pulled up over her head in front of a burn mark in the wilderness, and her hair was kind of like outside the hoodie hanging out like her stepdad said. And he just left her in the wilderness for weeks while he took her van and used her debit card to fill up on gas all the way back to Florida, and he even Zelled himself $700 from Gabby's account with a memo line that read, quote, "Goodbye, Brian. I'll never ask you for anything." What a jerk. That's the lowest of the low. To cause blunt force trauma to someone. I'm not saying only women can be the victims of domestic violence. I know men can too, and there's a big controversy. I know it exists from people who, you should see the stuff Brian's sister is writing on Instagram. Some people blame Gabby and they think she's the aggressor and they think she's the user, and I'm sorry though, she's the one who lost her life. I know there are instances where any victim can be abused and they fight back against their aggressor and take their aggressor's life, but I just don't see it in this instance. I'm not saying Gabby was a perfect angel. What I'm saying is Brian had no right to take her life. He should have let her go. And I believe, of course, if she would have seen this outcome, she would have taken that van and driven straight back to New York that week or in days following. But when Jackson heard about Gabby going missing, he said, quote, "I started to begin to think that Gabby had gone through with her plan, so he thought she had just maybe decided to disappear and go somewhere and get away." Now, when those first two male Moab police officers' body cam videos were released, Jackson said, "I had never seen Gabby that distraught before." So even though he was in a relationship with Gabby and they broke up for whatever reason, he had never seen her go to that point of being that upset. And then Gabby did tell Melissa, look, she can't even hit Brian that hard. Gabby's insisting Brian is much stronger than her. I know women can be abusive to men. Believe me, I've heard some stories. There's been some amazing testimonies out there. But in this instance, I do not believe Gabby was the primary abuser and all these things that, Brian's sister is saying, you guys just don't know the truth and there's just this narrative going, and I just don't believe it. Because Gabby admitted she slapped Brian with an open hand. She told Melissa these things, but she didn't know where the scratches on his face came from. Part of me still wonders if he wasn't like, let me scratch myself. She did admit, Gabby said, perhaps her ring caught him, so she admitted that. And she also admitted, Brian got back at her a little bit, but not to hurt her, though. She always added a caveat. She was reticent to tell the officers about anything Brian did to hurt her. Gabby tried to take a lot of the blame in that August 12th video, all of them, especially number 3, all of them. She didn't want to get Brian in trouble. However, it wasn't right of Brian in the first place to lock Gabby out of her own van and decide when she needed to cool off. It's not his decision. If he wanted to walk away, because Gabby explained, I guess, she might be there working whatever and it's frustrating her, and Brian feels bad that she's doing so much work, and instead of him like saying, okay, well, how can I help you, or let me learn, his solution was, well, just get away from that. Basically, just get away from that computer. Let's walk away. He's trying to lock her away from her computer and everything, and think that's the solution. If the video editing is frustrating you, just get away from it. Let's go walk. No, that's what he wanted to do. He wanted to walk and cool off. But Gabby is trying to say, don't take me away from this. Even though it's frustrating me right now, don't take me away from this. He wasn't like listening, in my opinion. And let's not forget, there was a witness who called 911 and said that he saw the male slapping the female before that Moab stopped. Now, some people are going around, they're like, oh, that's been debunked. And I'm like, where? How? Who debunked it? I heard the audio on the Netflix documentary. So sometimes it's so easy for a person to just say, that's been debunked, when they're so staunchly have their minds made up. Well, I'm trying to listen to all sides. I've done so much research. But meanwhile, while Gabby is giving Brian all these compliments and everything, and also voicing her frustration with him to Melissa, Brian was all laughs and jokes, and he's trying to charm all three of the officers. He called Gabby crazy and he laughed with the male officers. Now with Melissa, Brian took a different tact. He was joking that, oh, you don't trust me. And Melissa, I love it. She's like, I don't trust anyone. And then he had the nerve to hand over Gabby's wallet to Melissa, with her phone and everything, and say, don't open it. He was just trying to be this charming guy, but it didn't come off. I don't know, maybe the men kind of fell for it. I don't think Melissa really fell for it. They all kind of knew he was BSing them, but still. Previously, we'd learned, even before they launched on this fatal road trip, Gabby had told Brian, don't try to control me because it only makes me mad. I love you so much, but it's the way you speak to me that hurts the most. I'll probably do another video where I cover all three, recap all 3 episodes. In this one, I just kind of wanted to focus on body cam number 3 and kind of deep dive and compare it to what we've learned. We had learned that previously Brian was controlling. He was like, when Gabby was working 50 hours at Taco Bell, he's like, she's hanging out with lowlifes, and he's calling her mom. It's like, oh, Gabby's hanging out with these bad people or whatever, because she was working and saving. And even when she wanted to go hang out with her friend Rose, Brian does the immature thing. He takes her ID. So she drove all the way without knowing she didn't have her driver's license on her, which is endangering her, putting her in a bad position just because Brian was focused on his needs. Now, I wish people could delve into that side more. His immature reactions to, oh, I'm afraid, Gabby's going out, going dancing or whatever with Rose. He was probably really afraid she would meet someone much better than him. Instead of expressing that in a way or praying about it, whatever, he just takes her wallet. Ugh. But anyway, like Gabby probably realized when she was speaking with Melissa, they just had different goals, Gabby and Brian. He wanted to be barefoot all the time, drink water out of cantaloupe shells, and that's why he rejected that plastic water bottle that Melissa kindly offered him, even though they were dehydrated. Gabby said her and Brian had not drank water all day that day, which was part of the problem. Gabby also told Melissa, I just feel like he doesn't think I can do it. That's the same thing that she told one of the male officers. I think not Pratt. Sometimes I get Pratt mixed up with the other male officer, trying to figure out who's speaking, Overall, I think Gabby was a lot more honest in this body cam number 3 when talking about her own faults, and she was just taking too much of the blame because she did admit to slapping Brian when she didn't have to admit to that. She said maybe even her ring could have caused him those scratches. And then the sad part is is there any way I can get my phone so I can call my mom? That's what Gabby asked Melissa. And then Melissa approached Brian and asked him where the phone was without going for it. And then he's like, he wants to control everything. I'll show you. It's kind of in a spot.
Do you have any problems with anything you take care of that
I got it. Do you happen to know where her ID is? She said you would know.
I can get it. Can you come with me?
Yeah, totally.
You didn't trust me.
I don't trust anybody. Thank you, thank you.
I'll trust you. Don't open it.
I'll give you
Don't
your money. Thank you. In here?
So, like I said, that's what I'm going to be doing tonight.
What did he say our plan is?
Please don't allow me to get
There you go. So you're going to take the van and we're going to find another place for him tonight? Is that what? Just one night. Just one night. And then you can still get your star shots, your time lapse. Yeah. You want another water?
Okay.
Yeah. Not a problem.
I've got him in the hotel room tonight. So here in just a minute, I have to keep you guys separated. For right now, don't contact each other. Don't worry about it. Okay? You don't have to say anything to him. I can do that for you. You want me to let him know that you love him and you'll see him tomorrow and stuff like that? I'll be sad about that. Okay, I'll make sure that he has control. Okay? And if I have anything else, please don't go on. So I can call you. Alright? Alright. So just kind of sit tight for me real fast.
My clothes just give you some privacy, okay?
But when he walks over to the van, it was like right there. So I don't know, you do see the control. He showed her, because she came with him, and he's like, don't worry, I'm not diving for anything. Well, he does love the pew-pews, or he did, so, I don't blame them for being cautious. And then he used that opportunity to later say Melissa didn't trust him, and he's joking and laughing, and he's asking one of the male officers to walk to the van with him instead of Melissa. You don't trust me, he's just, I don't know, it fell flat. He's not charming. He was not charming. And it's ironic that Gabby's dad sounds like he was calling right at that moment because Melissa had her phone bringing it to her and it sounds like she says, your dad's, calling. But it's sad that the calls kept dropping. And it's notable that I don't know how much Gabby's mom knew about what was happening, because I think a lot of calls were dropped and everything. But Gabby's mom did say on Netflix she wanted, Gabby to come home right then and there, but Gabby kind of downplayed the situation and stayed. I kind of don't blame her in a way for staying. She didn't want to run home and, like to mommy and daddy. Maybe she felt like I'm a 22-year-old. I just want to get this gosh darn YouTube video up. I mean, I tell you, I can feel Gabby in a lot of ways because I know how much time this takes, and her stuff was beautiful, and she had drone shots and she had so much creativity. And when you set your mind on a goal, especially it's what you're meant to create, you're on this earth to create, you don't want things to get you off your path. And with her being 22, she probably was like, I want to try and make this on my own. It's just the bump in the road was Brian, and so she was like, if I just get rid of him, I can continue on with this life I've planned for myself. I don't need Brian with me. So meanwhile, the parents didn't really know what was going on. I think Tara Petito said something like they did not get the full story. They didn't know everything about that Moab stop. They only figured out what happened after Gabby's death, after the body cam videos were released. But meanwhile, in those body cam videos, just like this one, Brian sets himself up as this hero of the scene again, fictitious, only trying to save himself from Gabby's blows. That's the way he describes it. You know, he doesn't talk about slapping Gabby at all. He doesn't talk about how that blood got on her face. We still don't know how that happened because he was not honest, where I believe Gabby was more honest. She was more protective of him and she was more, you know, making herself the villain. Brian's making himself the hero. He's making it seem like, oh, I was just trying to block her blows, officer, and I think her ring caught me and her phone caught me and all this stuff caught me. I just don't believe him. Now, there are other men out there, I believe, who truly are victims, and I'm not trying to downplay that at all. I just don't believe Brian. And it's the same stance he took in his final note, full of lies, because not only could he just take her life so brutally, this is how cold-hearted he was, and just leave her out there, probably hoping animals would eat her, and put her on her left side, pose her, the love of her life and everything. Leave there, even though he has thousands of dollars, you know, still use her debit card for gas, Zelle himself $700, pretend to be her writing a message, goodbye, Brian, all that stuff, drive all the way back home. Not only that, you know, we'll get into the lawyering up and talking to his parents and all that stuff, drive all the way back to Florida without her. Just cold-hearted, claiming he loved her so much he couldn't live without her, but he couldn't even write the truth in his final journal. So Brian had a journal. It didn't look like this, but these are like our journals from church. I love them. He knew he was going to take his life. Why not write the truth? Like, if you know for sure you're about to go meet your maker, whoever that is, whomever may Brian, wherever he is about to go, couldn't he at least owe the truth at that point? Because what does it matter at that point? He's still worried about his legacy and worried about his parents. And I'm not saying anyone should attack his parents. That's not what I'm saying, or his sister or anything. You know, I feel more for Cassie because I think she might have known less, perhaps, than her parents did. But my point is, Brian had to lie until the end. He had to make himself look better than Gabby all the time. Go all the way to Florida, those heartbreaking pressers with Gabby's parents, who could just let them, you know, not know the truth. So anyway, at that point, if he's still not letting them know the truth, and he knew he was about to take his own life, he still came up with this cockamamie story that no one believed, that her stepdad said it didn't even match the evidence, but Brian claimed Gabby just fell, and, you know, she was in misery and begging him to put her out of her misery, and the stupidest story. Why couldn't Brian, on his deathbed, say, yes, I thought I loved her too much and I lost it and I ended up doing this to her? Like, he couldn't even give the truth when he took his last breath on this earth. I would not want to be him. Anyway, the eerie ending of this body cam number 3 shows Melissa helping Gabby help guide her safely back onto the road, never knowing that she'd be dead 15 days later.
Don't text each other tonight. He wants back on the green button. And unless there's earth chattering, don't text tonight. Okay, you can look at the night. You can the night now. You walk to the house and you get the phone. Okay. You go to the hotel. Alrighty. Here's that. I'm giving you a ride. Like I said, but I can't tell you that.
I just don't use it. I just want to make sure it's not that strong.
Well, no, it's
Less than 5 miles.
okay. Not far at all. Get you again, jump over, alright? Do you want that Gatorade, by the way?
That was embarrassing. You want a radio?
Stand over here real close. Well, you didn't have today, have to yesterday. It does my life wonders. If we get stressed out, Get the shower. Get the shower. So take a shower, relax. Take the time for yourself. So don't take the heat. Right? Explain to the mom or answer. Okay? Sorry about that approach. I don't know what the hell I was doing. It's rough. It's alright. It was an interesting pull. I'm pretty sure. Oh, formally introduced.
This is a... What's your... I just want to make sure you have room to get out.
I'm okay.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, we'll get you around after this red car. And then just take your time. If you need to pull over and take a moment, that's fine too.
I'm still going to go refill some water.
That'll work. Yeah, we got water at the visitor center. Okay, you want to come out now? Have a good one.
Body cam number 3. It'd be interesting to see what a lot of people say about this. Even though the audio's rough and I tried to clean it up and the visuals aren't as good, obviously the Moab Police Department has a lot better body cams than the National Park Service. And there's still like 23 minutes or something they didn't give me. So I wonder what those contained. I don't know. I was just so tired of fighting and thanking God I got anything. Let's close with Genesis 2:23. The man said, "This is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, for she was taken out of man." If only Brian were a good man for Gabby. He was not. He was the worst kind. Possessive, controlling, putting her down, abusive. And I believe Gabby's may have truly been, like I said before in one of my long rambling videos I'll link to below, reactive abuse. You know, when someone's like throwing something at you or pretending to hit you and then you just go, oh, you know, it's just like the frustration reaction and then they come back with, oh, you know, it could be that. It's just sad. So I don't know. What do you think of body cam number 3? I think I plan to potentially tomorrow. I don't know. This video editing takes a long time and getting on camera and filming and editing and all this stuff. But I plan to do this huge comprehensive video going over just recapping all 3 episodes. Since I believe it was really well done. It was done with the permission and participation of her family. And I always love it when the victims' loved ones can participate. And there were so many home videos and behind the scenes footage and knowledge that we didn't have. I think it was really well done. Thank you so much for watching all this. Stay tuned. We will go over this case again and many other cases. Take care.